and there's a bloody face at the window. The most terrifying thing that has ever happened to me. Face up at my window.
In January 2025, a man named James, who runs the YouTube channel By the Curb, decided to go on a stealth camping trip in Sunderland, England. But what started as an ordinary trip quickly turned into an experience that would haunt him forever. James was doing his usual stealth camping somewhere in the forests of Sunderland. Everything seemed normal at first. But as the night went on, something terrifying happened. And here's the clip.
And I pulled blind down. That was my first reaction. And there's a bloody face at the window. The most terrifying thing that has ever happened to me. Face up at my window.
A sketchy-looking guy suddenly pulled up to James's van and started banging on it while yelling. Even though his voice was unclear, you could tell he was shouting directly at James. For a couple of minutes, this guy kept circling the van, yelling non-stop, making James more and more disturbed.
I'm not the third one. I'm not the private race. I'm not a person in the footballer. Now, Reef, I don't know what means. You see when you're pulling the dead people who you're supposed to look.
It became clearer that the guy was yelling about private property and something related to the technology in James's van. While it might not have seemed too concerning at first, dealing with someone like this in the middle of the night is unpredictable. People like this can sometimes act irrationally, and you never really know what their intentions are. In a situation like this, things can escalate quickly, and James knew he had to be cautious.
Oh, I'm laid in bed. My hand's shaking, bloody hell. I'm laid in bed with my head up that end. And then there's a massive almighty bang. Absolutely scared the life out of me. I didn't know what I thought.
After what felt like hours, the guy finally left, and James could finally breathe a little easier.
Like that, so I pulled.
You've probably heard of Bigfoot. For those who don't know, Bigfoot is believed to be a massive, intelligent, hairy creature that has been spotted in different parts of the world for decades. People have been claiming to see it, some even capturing footage, where most of these so-called sightings are just for attention, trying to grab a few minutes of fame. However, every now and then, a video comes along that makes you stop and think. Some of them seem way too convincing to ignore, leaving people questioning whether there might actually be something out there. So, in May of 2015, a man decided to go mushroom hunting near his house. He also runs a YouTube channel called Tomorrow's Garden, where he mostly does product reviews for gardening and shares outdoor activities. In this particular video, he was out in the woods, casually pointing out different types of mushrooms and explaining which ones are safe to eat and which ones you should avoid. Everything seemed normal, just another educational video, until something disturbing happened that completely changed the tone of the video.
Well, there's certainly no shortage of the pheasant back mushrooms out here. You can see, here's one, and then one over here. They look really nice. And then just looking around here in the distance, that tree has a bunch, and then this log over here has a bunch. Take a walk over there. These look pretty big. Yeah, this, I don't think that one is down there. It's got to be about 12 inches across. And this one looks like it has a bite out of it. And this one. And there's one over here. Looks like it's holding some water. Huh? I think it's time to go.
Suddenly, a loud, deep roaring noise can be heard. It was so intense that it completely caught him off guard, and without thinking, he grabbed his camera and ran straight back to his house. Once he back home, he uploaded the video, but the comments started flooding in. Some viewers suggested it was just an animal, possibly a bear or some other wild creature making the noise. Others thought it could have been the sound of a tree falling in the woods, but then there were those who had other ideas. They believed the sound was far more unusual. Some of them even claimed it could have been a Bigfoot or Sasquatch. With so many theories flying around, the mystery grew even more intriguing. However, some viewers brought up a different possibility. They pointed out that people sometimes use loud instruments or even speakers in the woods to make strange noises. It could have been someone trying to scare off predators or even scare off trespassers from their land. Though the sound was disturbing, it left no clear answers. What had really happened that day in those woods? To this day, the man is still unsure, but he hasn't gone mushroom hunting in that spot again.
And there's one over here. Looks like it's holding some water. Huh?
In the summer of 2014, a mountain biker named Chris was riding through the rugged trails near Fernie, British Columbia. But as he navigated the winding path, something caught his attention. In the distance, he noticed an animal moving toward him. Immediately, he noticed what appeared to be a mountain lion at distance, and that's when he started recording.
I don't know if you can see it, but there's a mountain lion. He's crouching in the grass. He's actually coming towards me.
At first, it was really hard to spot where the mountain lion actually was. It blended in so well with the surroundings that Chris didn't even notice it right away. But as the video goes on, you can clearly see the lion slowly getting closer. Now, coming face to face with a mountain lion is extremely rare. These animals usually avoid people unless they're desperate for food or trying to protect their cubs. But when it does happen, it can turn into a life or death situation real quick. And this is where Chris made a critical mistake. He ran. Turning his back and sprinting away is one of the worst things you can do in a situation like this.
Hey, Mr. Mountain Lion. How are you doing?
To a mountain lion, that's the behavior of prey. In almost every case, predators are wired to chase anything that flees, and that's exactly what happened here.
I am much bigger than you. I'm way bigger than you. Go! Where are you going?
For a couple of minutes, Chris tried to keep his distance from the mountain lion by slowly stepping backward, never taking his eyes off it. But no matter how carefully he moved, the lion kept stalking him, staying hidden behind the tall grass, its eyes locked on him the entire time. Minutes passed, and Chris finally managed to reach his car, carefully stepping back 1 foot at a time. But even as he got closer to safety, the lion didn't back off. It kept following him from a distance, almost as if it was waiting for the right moment.
This is unbelievable. There's a mountain lion right here. Stay back. Stay there. I'm not afraid of you.
Eventually, the lion backed off and disappeared into the tall grass without launching an attack. It wasn't because the man was huge or intimidating. Plain and simple, the lion just didn't want to engage. You see, in many cases, if you're in a lion's territory, the animal usually leave you alone unless it feels threatened or provoked. Even though the situation was tense and the man had made some mistakes by running, the lion chose not to pursue him any further. There are a few reasons why this might happen. For one, a lion in its own area is often more interested in keeping its space undisturbed than in starting a confrontation. In November 2013, a group of hunters ventured deep into the remote wilderness of Latimer County, Oklahoma. expecting nothing more than a routine hunting trip. However, what they stumbled upon was something far more disturbing than they could have ever imagined: 3 skeletal remains lying in the dense forest. Upon seeing this, hunters immediately contacted the authorities. Upon investigation, officials determined that the remains belonged to 2 adults and 1 child. Forensic testing later confirmed that the remains belonged to 44-year-old Bobby Jamison, his 40-year-old wife Cheryl Lynn, and their 6-year-old daughter Madison. The Jamison family had vanished without a trace in October of 2009. Before their disappearance, they had been planning to purchase a 40-acre plot of land near Red Oak in the San Bois Mountains, about 30 miles from their residence. In the days leading up to their disappearance, friends and family observed that the Jamisons exhibited unusual behavior, expressing paranoia and claiming they were being watched. On October 8, 2009, they were last seen loading their truck with supplies, including food, water, and firearms, and informed a neighbor of their intention to inspect the land in the mountains. When they failed to return, a search was initiated. 4 days later, their truck was discovered abandoned in a remote area of the San Bois Mountains. Inside the truck were their IDs, wallets, mobile phones, a GPS system, and approximately $32,000 in cash. Their malnourished dog, Maisie, was also found in the vehicle. Despite extensive search efforts, the family was not located at that time. More than 4 years after the Jamison family vanished without a trace, the case had gone cold. But when hunters found the remains, case seems accelerate, but with no clear evidence of how the family actually died, the case remains mystery. Several theories have emerged regarding the family's disappearance. One theory suggests that they were murdered by Bobby Jamison's father, Bob Dean Jamison, with whom Bobby had a strained relationship. Approximately 6 months before the family disappeared, Bobby had filed a protective order against his father, alleging threats and violence. Another theory posits that the Jamisons were involved in drug activity, citing the large amount of cash found in their truck and their reported strange behavior before vanishing. Additionally, it's been reported that the Jamisons had told their local pastor, Gary Brandon, on separate occasions that they had seen spirits inside their home, and that Bobby had allegedly claimed to have been reading from the Satanic Bible. Because there was no solid evidence that the Jamisons were actually seeing spirits, many people dismissed their claims as paranoia or stress. However, those close to the family insisted that Bobby and Cheryl Lynn genuinely believed they were being watched by something supernatural. The disappearance and deaths of the Jamison family remain one of Oklahoma's most perplexing mysteries, with no definitive answers as to what led to their tragic end.